Hello everyone. In the last video, we prepared a Azure custom image template to create the AVD Gold image, but we did not install any apps in our image. So in this video, we're gonna start by installing some apps. We're gonna extend the custom image template to add two apps to it. So for installing the apps, we need the EXEs or the MSIs for the app. So what I have done, I have created an Azure Storage account called AVD Apps O1. In that, I have created a container called apps, wherein I have set the exe for Adobe Acrobat and Notepad++. Apart from this, we also need a script to install these apps. So we have two options. We can have script per app or a single script which will install all the apps in one go. So I have already created the script which installs these two apps one by one, and we can also extend it if we have more apps to install them later. I have tested by creating a script for each app. However, that did not work that well. My custom image template did not save whenever I had more than one script added to it. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's a bug. With only one script in it, it did not give me that error. So that's why I now use only a single script to do all my customization. In this script, we are first installing Adobe Acrobat Reader. So this blob URI is the URI for the exe of Adobe, which we're gonna fill in a moment. This download the installer invoke web request. It takes that blob URI and downloads the installer in temp folder, which is the temp path, and start process is the installation of the exe. So it installs the Adobe Acrobat exe, also creates a log file, and it has switches for Adobe Acrobat installation. Similarly, we will pre-fill the installer URL for Notepad++ exe. This step will download it. This will install the Notepad++ on the gold image. And this is just to clean up all the temporary files which we downloaded. Let's copy the URI for Adobe Acrobat Reader. I will click on the three dots here next to the exe. Click on generate SAS. So this is a SAS URL which I am creating, which will read this exe, which will allow me to download this exe using that URI. I can change it to other options as well, delete, add, create, but really we want read access. And here's the time period till what time this exe will remain valid. I could specify many years as well. And then I will generate the SAS token and URL. And this is the URL which anyone can paste it in the browser and it will download the exe. So I will put it in my script. Here's the URL for Adobe Acrobat, and same way I'm gonna create a URI for Notepad++. Extend the time. That's it. Now I'm gonna save this script on the storage account, same storage account. I could use the same folder as well, but I have created another blob folder. Just uploading it now. Now when this script runs, it's going to call these URLs from the gold image, and then it's gonna download those files and add those applications in the gold image. Forgot to put the double quotes around the URIs, so let me do that quickly. All right, I added the double quotes, uploaded the script. Now let me generate a SAS URL for this script because this is what we will specify in our custom image template. And now I'll go to my custom image template. I'm gonna create a new one which would be based on the old one because it will have all the things which I added to temp4, and then I will just add this apps to it. That's the resource group name, which it will create temporarily. rgtemp5. I will increase the timeout because sometimes the update can take a long time. So here I will update the URI for the script and put in the name for my script. It's down there at the bottom. I can move it up so that it installs all those applications after it removed the Apex packages. While it's getting created, let me show you the properties for the storage account. So the storage account should be publicly accessible because the custom image template, while it's creating this template here, it's going to check that URL whether it can access it or not, and if it's not a public URL, it's going to fail. All right, good. So it has created the template, and now if I go ahead and click on start build, it's going to create temporary resource group, temporary VM. On that VM, it will run this script, and when it runs, the script will access those URLs for the apps which I have specified in that script, and the VM will download those apps from those public URLs for Adobe and Notepad++ and install them. However, to make things a bit interesting, let's say these are just public apps, Adobe and Notepad++. But what if we have a business app and we want to install it on the Gold Image? Would we put that on a storage account which is publicly accessible, the app source files? I guess no, because the security in many companies won't allow that. So what can we do? Can we turn this storage account into only a privately accessible storage account, which would be accessible over the private endpoint? And when the VM gets created, it will download these apps over the private endpoint from the storage account, because the VM will get created in the VNet we specify. And if we link this storage account to that VNet to be accessible over private endpoint, yes, it would work. However, that script itself, the script itself will not be accessible because the custom image template service will look at that script's blob URL and it won't be able to access it because it's in a storage account which is only accessible over private endpoint now, which obviously the Azure Virtual Desktop or the custom image template service can't access. So what can we do to make this work? So let me show you step by step. First of all, let me turn this storage account into a storage account which is only accessible over private endpoint. I'm going to add the storage account to a private endpoint quickly. It requires a DNS as well, so I will go through all the default options, let it create the DNS and the private endpoint. The private endpoint has been created, and now I will turn off all public access. And if I try to access the URL for the app, it will not work. I've got the error because now that storage account is not accessible publicly. Now we have made our app secure, like no one can download those apps even if they have that URL. However, the image won't work because the script file that is also saved on the same storage account, and now that is not accessible from public. That's why I can't browse to it. So what's the solution? Because we really want the script file to be accessible publicly, but not the apps, because apps is the important part, because that's our company data, that maybe a secure, maybe a app which we don't want to save it publicly. So a workaround for it would be create another storage account, save the script file on it, and that storage account should be publicly accessible. So the script file can be downloaded publicly using the script URI. However, that script contains those URIs which are not accessible publicly. So they will be only accessible when the script file gets downloaded on the temporary VM where it prepares the gold image, and that temporary VM is part of my VNet, so it can download the app. So let me quickly create the storage account, another storage account, public one, and save the script file there. Second storage account got created, and let me put the script in here. I'm creating a container called script, and we're just gonna upload it quickly. Okay, the script got uploaded. I'm gonna generate a SaaS URI for it. Using this SaaS URI, the script can be downloaded publicly. It got downloaded, and I'm gonna update my custom image template with this new path. Quickly create another template called temp6. It would be based on my previous one, so it will have all the settings which I had there. It is install apps PS1, which had the URI for the old storage account, which is not accessible publicly now. So I just updated the URL with the new one. Create another template. I can delete these old ones. I don't need them now. So now even if someone gets access to my this public URI for the script, and they open it and they try to get these URLs for my apps, they won't be able to download them. All right, so temp6 got created successfully. The other two are deleting, so I'm gonna create an image out of it, and the image will have all the customizations, including my two apps, Adobe and Notepad++, which are not publicly accessible, and they will get downloaded to the gold image while it's building on the VM using the private endpoint. So when the VM tries to access those URIs, it will not try to access them publicly. It will try to access them on the private endpoint, and that is accessible from that VNet where the temporary VM gets provisioned in. I'm going to pause the video and I'll come back once the gold image has been created and captured. Gold image has been provisioned. The image build status is success. And if I go in my Azure Compute Gallery, I'll see a new version of my gold image. Here it is, the latest version. In the last video, we created a custom image template, but that was just with all the default options. We didn't install any app. In this video, we saw how we can install our custom apps in the gold image, and also how we can save our custom apps on a private storage account, not on a publicly accessible one. The next step would be to create a AVD using this gold image and join it to Entra. So I'll create another video for that because that also requires some prerequisites to be completed, which I don't have for now in my environment. So we'll run through that, meet all the prerequisites, and provision a AVD using this gold image. I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.